Hello, everyone. This is Austin from Raw Bliss. Today, I'm going to be talking to Jeff, Jeff Juices on Instagram, and he's a long-term raw vegan, and he has healed SIBO, which is like a digestive disorder. And we're going to talk about juicing. We're going to talk about how he healed SIBO, his advice for others, how much fat, advice on starting a juice fast, why you would juice fast, the best juicer. So let's get into it. All right, I am here with Jeff from Jeff Juices. How old are you, Jeff?
I am 36 years young, my brother.
Dang, you look young, man.
Thank you. I also just shaved, so that helps. You would probably look 10 years younger when you shave too. You do, actually.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, I wanted to talk to you about your raw food diet. Like, how did you get into raw foods?
Well, first, thanks for. It's cool to connect finally after years of being Instagram homies.
Definitely.
For your viewers, I would like to say that Austin is one of the most unique humans on the entire planet, and it's very admirable the way you live and just the way you're following your dreams.
Thank you.
Regardless of some of the disagreements that people might have eating the fruit-based diet and living in Asia by yourself, and it's cool, man. It's really cool what you're doing. I bought your book. I read everything in it, and it's very inspiring how you just kind of up and rooted your life and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go chase wild fruit. Durian looks cool. I'm gonna go find it, and then that's what you've been doing. So very admirable. Round of applause to you, my brother.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So the raw vegan diet. So I got really sick, much like a lot of other people who found this lifestyle. I got really, really sick. I thought I was going to die. I had severe Crohn's disease, and I was unable to digest food or water mostly, for close to 2 years. And I was off and on sick for nearly 10 years. So I discovered it just by trying all the diets. I tried the carnivore diet. I tried a raw carnivore diet. I tried keto and paleo and a lot of diets to help heal SIBO and candida, and all of the ideas of those diets was the same. It was, limiting your intake and restricting. And so pretty much after like 2 years of spending all of my money on like doctors and just being in and out of the hospital, I decided to take a little pill camera. It's called a capsule endoscopy. You familiar with that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
So, I tried colonoscopy, endoscopy, and then they couldn't really see anything. And after 2 years of like not getting any answers and trying so many antibiotics, just guzzling antibiotics, I took a little capsule endoscopy, and it was the best decision that I've ever made, to be honest, because it got stuck. I don't know if you read that in my story, but it got stuck. And, I work as a photographer, so the cliche to have a camera stuck inside my intestines as a photographer is like pretty damn unique, I guess. So that got stuck for 4 months actually, and I went to the hospital to see what I could do about it because I didn't want to have it surgically removed, but I was jumping through hoops with my insurance to get it taken out. So I went to the hospital after like puking my brains out one night. Like worse than I usually do. I would typically puke 4 to 5 times a week, but this day nothing was staying down. I was puking bile, just like deep stuff in my intestines. Just it wasn't going down. So I'm like, well, here we go. This is the moment I've been waiting for, So luckily, whatever closure was going on in my intestines, it opened and I was able to like pass through some liquids. But during that hospital period, when I was like trying to get the camera taken out, I did a CT scan that showed that I like officially had Crohn's, which I had known for years, but it just like showed the strictures, it showed the fistulas and all that. And the doctor gave me a couple options: either do chemotherapy style drugs to suppress my autoimmune issues, or take like Remicade or something like that for like Crohn's. And I was, at the time I was like 32, and I was just like, dude, this can't be life. Are you kidding me? I'm relatively healthy. I've just been traveling the world, and like, I'm not ready to die yet. Like this is the end of my life pretty much.
Yeah.
And so one thing I had always been scared of was the word vegan. Just I feel judgmental saying it now, but like I judged the shit out of people that were vegans, and I was like, you guys are kooks and skinny, and where do you get your protein? Just the same thing that every single person thinks. I thought that, like, we've been eating meat for years, or for forever. But I had never looked into that diet. That's the only type of diet. I've tried 20 different types of diet, and so I literally was just in the night, or in the hospital one night, I did a little Google search. I think it was like how to heal disease with plants or something like that, plant-based disease healing. And just, I started crying immediately after like a couple, it was like all these people healing cancer and, heart disease and just everything. And that made me watch about the Garrison therapy, healing cancer.
Garrison therapy.
So I watched that. Yeah, I watched the Garrison therapy video, and then I watched Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and then I watched Super Juice Me. And then that was around, I think, 5 a.m. when I finished the third documentary. And I had stayed up all night. I couldn't sleep. I was just like blown away, And then they brought my breakfast, and then it was game over. It totally, like, I was like, holy shit, I get it. They brought me pudding, ice cream, chicken broth, chicken noodle soup, and like 2% milk. And I was like, I can't believe I didn't see this. What I'm putting through my intestines is the reason I have this intestinal disease. It's common sense. So pretty much overnight I went vegan. Like that, like mentally I turned vegan immediately. It took me a few months to like stop eating eggs just because I was having some cravings, but pretty much the next day after that night in the hospital, I went home and started juicing and, watching the Life Regenerator videos like religiously, and listening to seminars of Charlotte Garrison just yelling at the camera at the top of her lungs about enzymes, and then it was honestly just like a matter of, 3 to 6 months after I found those videos that I was like almost, I wouldn't say healed by any means, but I was in a totally different place. I started juicing and started having results like within a couple of weeks,
So
pretty,
was Life Regenerator the first like raw like YouTuber that you saw besides Garrison?
Yes, 100%. I watched. I don't remember how I found the Life Regenerator, but I started just Googling juicing, really.
Yeah.
And so I think his how to remove mucus from the body video popped up that has millions of views. And I watched that video like 5 times in a row, back to back to back, like 5 hours straight, just watching that video,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. How could I have not come across this information? I spent so much time researching stuff. I just never found detox, and I never knew what that word was.
Right.
And so how I kind of came into the fruit, lovers, lifestyle is I found the Life Regenerator. Then, I found Fully Raw Christina, and obviously she's beautiful. And so that was a bonus, just watching all the colorful food that she was eating and how she reversed her diabetes. And also she was really beautiful. So I was like, oh, wow, this looks cool. And then I found Ted Carr, which I feel like a lot of people, that's kind of like the path, they find Ted Carr and they're like, oh, fruitarian. Never even heard that term.
Yeah.
And so I became obsessed with watching Ted Carr in Asia, just eating durian and eating the kind of weird exotic fruits. And I've never even heard of durian or jackfruit before this. I never ate fruit ever, like ever. The only time I would eat fruit was maybe an apple every like 6 months, dude. I was like straight up carnivore processed food kid, so I related to his videos a lot, and it was just this, to me, it was just like this world that I had never heard about, like people loving fruit and traveling to find fruit. Like, after, I think at that time, I still hadn't been eating it. So I did like 3 months of the Garrison therapy diet, which is like a cooked vegan diet with juicing, and it didn't work. I was still so bloated. And so then I just did a John Rose style juice feast. And during that juice feast is when I like started to just research all these crazy fruits. And obviously not eating at the time, I was like just very interested in eating again. And so to be honest, within I think a week's period, I found Ted Carr, Fit Shorty Eats, Flavors of Light, and you all within like, a week.
Really?
I literally, yeah, all of you guys,
Wow.
I became obsessed. That's all I did for probably like a month while I was laying in bed, just feeling like shit, trying to juice my ass back to life, was
Yeah.
watching you guys traveling in Asia, talk about durian, talk about the exotic fruits. And uh, I knew what the next, the new direction of my life was going to be. I wasn't in any sort of health yet to really do anything, but I was slowly getting better with juicing.
Mhm.
And before I even tasted durian, I fell in love with it, just the weirdness of it.
Yeah.
And then probably like, I broke my juice feast. I did 90 days on juice. I broke it with watermelon, cantaloupe, and persimmons for a solid 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And then, I just still watching all you guys on YouTube, and a lot of Fit Shorty Eats. I was pretty just obsessed with just how into durian they are. It's just like
Yeah.
so wild. Not like celebrity style at all, just like so intrigued by what they were eating,
Yeah.
And then I went and there's a raw vegan restaurant in San Diego called Peace Pies.
Mhm.
And I couldn't eat any of the food there, but I'd go have smoothies every once in a while with my girlfriend. And I told them about durian and asked if they knew where I could find it. And they actually had like a little piece in like a plastic container.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and they just gave it to me and they're like, here, take it, dude. Like, okay. They're like, who cares? Just take it. And so I brought it home. I let it thaw out and it was terrible. It was so watery and gross. And I was like, this can't be right. Like, nah, dude. And then they told me where they bought it. So my heart melted. I didn't even taste it yet. Like right when I saw them, I saw the whole fruit in the frozen section. Um, it changed me. I bought like 10 of them right there on the spot. Brought them home, tasted one. It was game over. I had a mental breakdown, cried for like an hour. I just couldn't believe the connection I had to this food that I had been studying for like 5 months. And then I tasted it and it just, my brain melted.
Yeah.
Just like I cried so hard and was just so happy. For one, because I could eat and digest food for the first time in nearly 5 years. And the flavor, just the connection I had with this fucking weird ass fruit was just like unlike anything else I'd ever experienced.
Yeah.
And so I immediately got it. And you probably be able to say this also, but it changed my life. Tasting durian, it changed my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I went from just being like, oh my God, durian's really cool and I want to know more about it, to being like, I'm going to change my life to be around durian. And
Yeah, like I got to the point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna go somewhere where I can eat durian every single day. And that's what I did.
Yeah, it's incredible,
Yeah.
And I've watched some of your recent interviews that you've done with some people, and you had said that you were kind of lost and you didn't really have a lot of passion.
Right.
You didn't really know where your passions were. And the fact that you found durian and like that kind of became your new passion is like miraculous, that you were able to like find a new direction, whether it be just food or just this new lifestyle in Asia. It's like this one fruit, I think, is one of the most important pieces of food on the planet,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
needs to be preserved like gold. Um, it helped you find a direction in life. And I can find passion in fucking anything, but for me, I had lost all passion for almost everything, for my photography career, for traveling, for surfing, and I didn't really care anymore. And then I found durian. It was durian that changed me. I instantly was like, I'm fruitarian for life, whether I eat some vegetables or whatever, but like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in and around Asia and durian, probably until I die.
Yeah.
Even I've been to Bali, but I've never had fresh durian, but it didn't really matter. I've still never been to Asia and as a raw vegan fruitarian,
Mhm.
but I'm getting there. I will be there soon.
Yeah.
And my life still revolves around durian. I think about it all day, pretty much every day, even though I live in Mexico and there's zero durian here.
Yeah, I think there is like a deep connection. I think it's one of the most ancient fruits, and there's like a connection there to our ancestors, something deep inside us that when we eat it, we get that like feeling like, oh my God, we've been here for thousands of years or something, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
You know,
amazing.
and just like knowing how hard and rare the fruit is.
Yeah.
You know, I know there are rarer fruits, but the taste combined with like the ancient age of the trees mixed with how incredibly funky and like hard to get inside the fruit it is. It's just like, you know,
Yeah, it's like the what's it called? You know, like in Indiana Jones, like the secret like
yeah, I
chalice.
know what you're talking about. Yeah, those little, yeah, yeah. I can't think about what they're called either, but
Yeah, and oh,
uh,
by the way, Bali's supposedly opening in July
to tourism, you mean?
to tourism. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Then I've also heard just from people in that expats group that like it's just another BS move that they're just going to keep pushing it back, just like they're pushing everything
Uh,
back kind of everywhere.
yeah. I mean,
But
my friend got in there, but you need like it's just like a 5-day quarantine, which isn't too bad. Here it's 21 days, so like,
yeah, that's crazy.
it's crazy. But I
Yeah.
wanted to talk a little bit about so on your juice fast that you like you healed your Crohn's disease.
I didn't heal my Crohn's disease through
Oh,
a
I'm
juice
sorry,
feed,
sorry. Yeah.
but I got a lot better.
Okay.
I went from being bedridden to full functioning within 90 days, you know.
And was
So,
that like what kinds of juices were you juicing?
um, so because I was still into the Garrison therapy, I kind of just did the Garrison therapy juices, you know,
Okay.
basic. I didn't fall into the tea, but you know, it
Carrot,
was
apple.
a lot of carrot apple pear, and then a lot of green juice. I was just scrolling through my phone of just looking at some of the produce I would buy back then. It was like just like piles of leafy green vegetables and kale and you know celery and romaine and Swiss chard and you know just so many greens, which I feel like was epic. You know, I put a lot of people that I work with on green juices, and parasites hate chlorophyll. Let's
Right.
put it that way. So dude, I've passed so many parasites. It was insane. You know, I've lots of pictures of worms and parasites. But yeah, I honestly didn't get too experimental with the juice because I was still severely bloated during that juice feast. You know, it just got way less as kind of the weeks went on. But yeah, green juice doesn't taste good. You know, I was not able to digest oranges or grapes or anything like that. No citrus at all. So it was kind of boring, the flavors that I was getting, but I was just feeling so freaking good. I didn't even care. I was like chugging green juice like it was just, you know, pure medicine.
Yeah. So for the Garrison therapy, like for those that aren't familiar, that's you sip like 12 ounces of juice every hour or something.
Yep, it's 10 8-ounce glasses of juice every hour.
Okay.
And then 3 meals a day. The first meal is oatmeal. Then you have an orange juice, and then you have a lunch that is basically like, you know, fruit and salad. And then you have a dinner, which is like a cooked soup, you know, like potato, carrot, onion, tomato based soup. And I wasn't able to digest any of that, especially not the oatmeal.
Yeah.
And I was trying at the time. I was like, dude, this oatmeal tastes so good. You know, it was like so nice, but I just wasn't able to digest it at all. It was like sitting in my stomach like a rock.
Right.
And so I was like, you know, I'm sure at the time I had a stricture that was like my intestines were probably that wide open, you know, so
Yeah.
nothing was going through me. I had the juice, so I just was like, well, there's no way I'll heal unless I can absorb nutrients. And also discovered John Rose kind of around that time, and I was like, duh, I'm going the distance, you know, the hero's journey, and I did. It changed my whole life. I still think it's the most important thing I've still done.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it'll be the most important thing I ever do in my whole life, but it changed my life, and I don't think I ever would have survived if I had not like taken that 90 days to just like give my intestines a break, you know.
That's amazing. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you're still here with us.
Yeah.
And do you think how important do you think it is to sip juices slow? Like what's the importance of that?
I think it is important. Do I do it? I don't. You know, when I was really sick, I kind of had to because I just couldn't digest that fast. And I was having very, very up and down blood sugar swings if I would drink it too fast.
Mhm.
but I think it is important. I don't practice what I preach all the time. Right now I'm kind of sipping on mandarin juice.
Mhm.
But it's like anything, good, better, best. Best would be to
Right.
sip it slowly. Uh, just so, juice is concentrated fruit sugar. Our body is meant to uptake it a little bit slower. That's the whole point of putting the fiber in it.
Right.
Um, but if you chug a liter of juice, but you're still going to heal. You're still going to
Absolutely.
have cleansing happen. So it's just like, do your best.
Yeah.
I'm still, I guess, recovering from the addiction to feeling full all the time, which I feel like most people are.
Yeah.
So I like to just drink it fast, you know, subconsciously. I don't even mean to. I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Like,
I noticed like here it's pretty hot. Like I'm constantly like trying to hydrate myself. And I notice when I drink the juices a lot slower that it hydrates me better. Otherwise I just like, if I drink like a liter in like, 2 minutes or something, I just go to the bathroom immediately. And it's like, it feels like it's not hydrating me fully.
yeah, 100%. If you drink it faster than your kidneys can process it, then it's just going to come out and it's not going to get absorbed. So that's why it's like that. It's the constant battle of, it will taste so goddamn good, I just want to drink right now.
Yeah.
Or do you actually want to get hydrated from it? So I would say like 60% of the time I just drink it within 5 minutes. And the other time, if I'm like being, cautious about how quickly I drink it, I always feel way better if I drink it slowly, like every single time, no matter
Yeah.
what.
So when you were living in like San Diego, you said when you first went raw.
Mhm.
So what was your diet like in San Diego at the time?
Like when I went raw
Yeah,
or before.
like what would you say to people who live in a similar area? Like what were the type of things you were eating?
Yeah. So, much like anywhere else, it was quite seasonal.
Yeah.
When I broke my 90-day juice feast, it was like right around September. So watermelons and cantaloupes were just amazing.
Nice.
And before that, I didn't even care about watermelon and cantaloupe. And so I broke my feast on those for probably, that's all I had for like 2 months. Uh, and then around the time that those kind of started to phase out, persimmon seasons came in. And so I had never even had a persimmon. And then,
Yeah.
I watched a lot of John Kohler videos and just him eating persimmons. And I was like, okay, I got to try that. And so I honestly lived on persimmons. I had like a farmer that I would pick up cases like every 3 days that were this big of just goopy, just squishy persimmons. Uh, so I rocked those for probably like 3 months up until January, or no, up until mid-December, when they were already out of season for like a month. But I had a guy who I don't know, he still had them. So, and then after that, I kind of started to get into berries. I was doing like a lot of strawberries and blueberries, and all at the same time. Like, you know, to be honest, my digestion was so bad that all of these foods were still affecting me. Like I was still getting bloated,
Right.
but just way less. And so, every time I'd introduce a new food, like the first time I had blueberries, I got pretty screwed up for like a couple days because my body hadn't had that type of fiber, and so it took a little while. And then, so to be honest, over the course of the next year, it was like every month or two, I would introduce a couple new fruits. And, I would say the main staple was definitely like cantaloupe, Altufo mangoes, watermelon, persimmons, a little bit of bananas, and eventually grapes. It took me like a month to like really try it all the time, getting screwed up and bloated to eat, to get good enough digestion to digest the skins of grapes.
Right.
And so a lot of berries, a lot of grapes, a lot of mangoes that were, from the Asian market that were cheaper. And during this whole time, I was still having major health issues with bloating. Most of my other health issues went away, but I was still like pretty bloated.
Yeah.
But way less, way less. And then I honestly like was eating a lot of frozen durian too, which I don't,
Sure.
I'm not, I'm not unproud of that, but I have spent so much freaking money on frozen durian, probably more than most humans.
Yeah.
I've maxed out credit cards on frozen durian. I have, it's embarrassing how many plastic containers I have from them.
Right.
Once before I moved to Loon. I got to actually see how many were in the back of my like giant storage container. And so yeah, that's kind of it. It was a lot seasonal. I started eating a lot more vegetables, like leafy greens, after about a year and a half.
After
And
a
then
year.
then it just, yeah, like the main thing living not in like a tropical country is just finding as fresh fruit as you can get. So like luckily we had really good.
Uh, all right, go ahead.
All right, there we go. So living in San Diego, we had a lot of there's epic produce in San Diego. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's epic.
Yeah.
It's not exotic tropical fruit, but it's really good. So lots of berries, lots of apples and oranges and stuff like that. And the staple for me is also bananas. A lot of banana smoothies with blueberries and strawberries and blackberries and dates for sure. Dates help a lot. I was severely malnourished and a hard time like gaining weight and keeping calories up. And as my intestines healed and I was juicing, I was also just trying to get more calories. So a lot of banana date smoothies. Yeah, pretty much that's it. And I had durian probably every other night. So
My
a lot
God.
of durian.
That's so expensive.
Yeah.
So how long until the bloating started going down?
So every month I would notice a little bit of improvement. And I had noticed that I was completely bloating free about a year and a half into the diet.
Okay.
I was in Hawaii. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Me and my girlfriend took a trip to Hawaii, and like nearing the end of our trip, I was eating just soursop and jackfruit and
Oh, nice.
Canistel egg fruit and all these weird fruits. And at the beginning of the trip, I was still getting kind of screwed up, especially from jackfruit. That was causing me some issues. I don't know why, but it was. But by the time it was our last week there, I was like, holy crap, I haven't even thought about my stomach in like over a week. Like I haven't been bloated. And then I went back home, and for like a month, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm like fully healed. Like I'm still skinny, but my stomach's totally fine now. And then, I rocked out on a perfect diet for like 3 months after that. And then I started upping my like leafy green and vegetable intake.
Mhm.
And then I started noticing like, okay, if I keep it super soft fruit, low fat, zero issues. And then I was kind of dabbling with some like dehydrated food, and I noticed if I had too much fat or, like eating carrots or beets too many days in a row would kind of make me bloated a little bit.
Right.
And then just over like the next couple of years I guess it's been like 2 years since then. It's just, I have no issues with my stomach unless I eat too much fat.
Right.
Or eat too much dehydrated food, like 2 or 3 days in a row, then I'll start to my digestion will start to slow down and get a little bit bloated.
Sure. So how much fat is like ideal for you?
Well, to feel great, none, zero overt fats. Maybe I can do like hemp seeds and smoothies, like no issues. Like a couple tablespoons per smoothie. But if I have avocado, I can't really eat just a quarter of it.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
so
know how
delicious,
I don't know how
so,
people do that, honestly.
Yeah, either do I. It's just so dense, especially when you're eating like so many hydrating fruits all day, and then you have that, it's like gold. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh my God. So to be honest, I'm still healing, like even though I've healed most of my health issues, like I obviously can't digest fats super well. I'm still a little, malabsorbed, having trouble gaining a little bit of weight. And my adrenals are still quite up and down, but I think it's just a matter of just keeping myself very low fats, almost overt fat free. And it's kind of a battle though. Like you do need a healthy fat, but at the same time, if you can't digest it, is it helping?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in the boat now where it's like maybe once a week I'll have half an avocado. Maybe not even that much, maybe every 2 weeks now. So I kind of get my fat just from the fruit. I eat bananas, a lot of bananas.
Sure.
And I will do hemp seeds which I'm not in love with hemp seeds. It's just easier for me to digest those.
And greens, right? Greens are a pretty good source.
Greens are a decent source. I don't have access to really good greens where I'm at, so I don't really do greens much. You know, I used to do a lot of green juice and eat, you know, some pretty really. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Can you hear me, Austin?
Can you hear me? All right, we're back with Jeff. We had some technical difficulties. You know how it's like in these countries. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about like how your diets changed since you came to Tulum, Mexico from San Diego.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So one of the reasons I moved here was because the fruit is just amazing here, you know, at least compared to San Diego. I'm really into exotic, high quality, like tropical fruit. It's much different than just regular fruit that you grow in either the States or in a subtropical climate, you know.
Of course.
Like apples and oranges are cool and berries are cool, but you do not get an experience eating oranges or, you know, bananas like you do eating a mame sapote or you know, just like super ripe mangoes that are like 1 day old or picked that day, or sour sops. So my diet went from like a lot of smoothies based around berries and bananas and a lot of like shipped mangoes to basically pineapples, mangoes, papayas. And that's like it. That's the base of my diet. And then obviously a lot of the exotic stuff like chocolate sapote, sour sop, mame. I try to have a mame like every other day. Right now they're so cheap. They're like 25 cents a pound,
Wow.
you know, which is like, and that's like 10 cents of fruit. It's so cheap.
Nice.
And so I never used to love mangoes, but now I love mangoes. There's been some epic mangoes here. So been doing a lot of those and just a lot of just epic pineapples. So I don't really eat salads or greens too much anymore just because there's no organic greens really. Yeah, I mean, you can find them. They're just way harder to find.
Right.
And then my juice recipes have changed a lot. I drink a lot of coconut water. Like every day I'll usually have coconut water for breakfast instead of a juice.
Yep.
And then you know, so when I was talking about fat, I will get some fat from the coconut jelly. And that digests a lot easier. But my diet's like it's pretty basic now. And I used to do a lot more gourmet foods just because I was getting bored of the fruit that I was eating, to be honest.
Yeah.
And now I'm just finding it way easier to stay like more fruitarian based because I'm around exotic fruit.
Yeah.
You know, like to be like I don't even know if it's possible to really be a long-term fruitarian if you're not living in a tropical place, you know. Like I know people are doing it, but it's like so not optimal, you know. Like bananas are not fun to eat, especially the ones in the States.
Yeah.
You know, like the apple bananas, the little mini ones that we get here they taste like bananas. They taste amazing. They're so sweet and like sugary and dense, and they make you like excited to eat a banana, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I never liked them until I came to the tropics. I was like, oh, so good.
Yeah, like, you know, I don't even want to eat regular bananas after you taste the other ones. It's just like a joke.
Yeah.
You know, I will buy the regular ones just for smoothies, but
right.
The little mini ones, I'll just mono meal those like all the time. Just grab a stash of them. I don't live as close to a market as you do. You know, I have to kind of drive, stock up for a few days.
Right.
But you know, bananas are kind of a base. I would say bananas and mangoes are like the main thing that I eat. Right. If I can, I'll find some tomatoes. Every once in a while, I'll grab avocado. And the pineapples are just mental. They're just insane, just so ripe. So I'm like excited about fruit. I was losing my excitement and my joy for like simple raw food meals back in San Diego. And so that was a huge reason. I felt like my health was kind of starting to like suffer a bit because I was like leaning on like more dense salads and like kind of going against what I practice and the people that I work with are also just what I believe in, you know.
Right.
I believe in mono fruit style eating, simple salads, like as basic as you can possibly get. And because I wasn't excited about the fruit I was eating, I was like veering away from like what I believed in.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish that I had Asia fruit, because the grass is always greener. We don't really have good jackfruit. There's no Champadak or durian or anything like that. But the mame sapote, the sapodilla, chocolate sapote, and those are amazing. I could live on those forever. If I had no durian, I'd be super sad, but I could like definitely do it here.
Oh, and you guys get noni too, right?
We get noni. Oh yeah, I got a crap load of them that I found the
You,
other day.
you said you're starting to like them better now, right?
It's beyond that. I love them now. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It took about 10 tries to like even like be able to tolerate it. I was just like, man, everybody else seems to like these. I got to keep going.
Yeah.
And most of the time I'm like, blah, just like so gross and stinky and spicy and now I get it. I totally get it. It's like creamy and dense and just such a unique flavor that like there's zero fruit even close to it,
Yeah. And you
You
guys,
like noni?
I love it. It was love
Yeah.
at first bite for me. I mean,
Yeah.
what you guys get those red custard apples too, right?
Yeah, we had those for a while. I think they're like called anonas.
Yeah.
We had those for like a month and a half. I ate a lot of those. Those are really good too. Those are kind of tricky though, because you have to get them when they're like perfect. Otherwise, they'll get worms in them.
Oh yeah,
And
that's like the custard apples here too. They get worms so fast.
yeah, and the sapodilla too. The sapodilla
Right.
get worms pretty easy, but there's a little bit bigger of a window that you can like hang on to them for. But when they're ripe, those things are epic and they fill you up so quick.
Yeah, they do.
Me and I think last time I hired Alonzo from Vivo to do a photo shoot with me
Yeah.
like a couple months ago when he was passing through town, and we literally just bought like brought on the day like mangoes and then those anonas, and we had some that were like the size of our head,
Wow.
and like you think that you want variety, but if you have a 2 pound anona, like you're done. You're eating that thing until you're full. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
So
So
satisfying. Yeah.
yeah. And we just started getting some like white dragon fruits, which are okay. They're not epic, but we've been getting some of those. So I've been doing
Yeah.
those. The ones that you have over there is look, oh my God, they just look so good. Deep red.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find them in a minute, but they're it's usually year round. It's like I'm like amazed like how much is year round here. I'm like, wait, I keep thinking like mangoes are seasonal, but I see them for like 7 months and I'm like, are the mangoes ever gonna go away? I hope not. but what's your favorite juice combo?
Well, my favorite juice is just sugarcane.
Yeah.
My favorite juice combo, to be honest, is right now it's been like pineapple passion fruit.
Okay.
But I also really dig cucumber, cilantro, mint, and Granny Smith apple. Like
Ooh.
it's so smooth. The mint really gives it like kind of
Yeah.
like a cooling flavor. I mean, I've made so many freaking like different times in my life. I've had different like recipes.
Different favorites.
Yeah, different favorites. But I'm so basic. Like Valencia oranges. That's probably like my favorite type of orange juice. If I could have one juice to drink for the rest of my life, it would be Valencia orange juice from California. Like hands down the best consistent tasting juice.
Yeah, I love orange juice too, man. But it's like it's a little more expensive here. Like I mean, compared to Mexico, probably, but like expensive.
How much per kilo?
Expensive in Vietnam, maybe like like $1 a kilo. But like to make like a liter of juice, you need like 2.5 kilos probably.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But you guys also have like the smaller ones though, don't you?
We have a lot of varieties. The mandarin, I made pure mandarin juice like you have, and it's absolutely amazing. But it cost me like $4 to make, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, the mandarins are so sweet here, like absolutely zero tartness or anything. So good.
Do you ever mix the coconut water with mandarins?
I think I did one time. I like coconut and pineapple. That's like one of my favorites.
I haven't done that.
Oh yeah, really good. Like half coconut, half pineapple. Really good.
Yeah, you guys have some really good looking pineapples there too.
Yeah, especially the baby ones. The big ones, like even if they're fully yellow, they hurt my mouth a little bit. But the baby ones, it's like no acidity at all. They're epic.
Yeah. You're lucky though. You live like right next to a market. You can just go grab one and then come back. I,
Yeah.
I think that that's like the ideal way to live right now is just like be as close as you can to like a produce stand. So you don't have to like fill up and it's like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go grab something.
Yeah, and there's like people, Vietnamese walking around all day with those little fruit carts, and they got everything like you could want on there. It's really cool.
Yeah. That's so sick. How much do you juice?
Um, I haven't been doing much recently. I did like a 1 month juice fast of like 4 months ago, I think. And since then I've just been like smashing coconut water like crazy and just kind of getting
Yeah.
back to the basics, I guess.
When you have coconut water in your life, you don't really, you're like not as encouraged to juice as much, like
Yeah.
it's so easy. It's so refreshing and it's like really cheap. So it's like kind of hard to justify spending 20, 30 minutes making like a elaborate green juice, or you could just pop
Yeah.
open a coconut.
I like making a green juice like occasionally. That's one of my favorite ways to have greens. But the like the coconuts here have, I don't know about in Mexico, but they have so much variety here. Like they have this coconut called pineapple coconut, and it literally tastes
Whoa.
like pineapple juice in a Coke. Like it's so good. And there's like like brown sugar coconuts. That's like the most famous one, which people are like obsessed with them. But I like the salty like green coconuts. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Mexico sucks. Our coconuts are like a joke compared to other coconuts in the world. Like the ones down in Costa Rica and Hawaii or even in Asia, they're like, these are like, it's like those coconuts that you have been around for like centuries, and these have been around for like a couple days. Like
Yeah.
the trees just haven't like gone big. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the region of Mexico that I live in.
Hmm.
It's
Is
also
it
kind of
is
hard.
it is it coastal?
Yeah, I'm on the coast. I'm in Tulum, so it's
Oh,
a
interesting.
lot of the coconuts we get are in this part of Mexico called the Yucatan,
Right.
which the ground is really hard to grow stuff because
Uh,
it's on top of cenotes.
okay.
And I don't know too much about the agriculture here, but I know that it's really hard for the ground to keep nutrients in the soil. So maybe that's why they're not epic. They're really good, but they don't even compare to like other ones I've had. But they're cheap. They're
Yeah.
easy. They are sweet. They're not near as sweet as other ones, but they're good. They're like a good
Yeah.
stable, fuel source, I guess.
I
If
mean,
I were to
as
have just
long as
like,
they're hydrating,
yeah, exactly. Like I'm not complaining by any means, but
Right.
compared, it's always good, better, best. I would say they're like mediocre here.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm like really into just kind of like following what's easy, what's around where I live, not trying to overcomplicate it. So like I don't even make green juices really anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have any access to like organic celery or cucumbers unless I drive an hour and a half to Costco, and then they're still like 2 to 3 week old celery bags.
Right.
I prefer to like I've been taking like some green boost, powder, and then just drinking coconuts. It's kind of how I get my greens.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's most of the questions I have. Any advice you could give to somebody that's like starting a raw food diet?
Yeah, totally. You also mentioned talking about SIBO.
Yes.
I'd love to just jump on that topic because there's a
Sure.
lot of people who suffer with candida, or SIBO is a little bit different than candida, but I don't know, to be honest, I think I had the worst case SIBO out of anybody I've ever talked to or met. Um, I was bedridden, I couldn't put anything in my mouth without getting painfully excruciating pain, bloated within 10 minutes.
Hmm.
And so for those of you that don't know what SIBO is, it's basically small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. It's when an overabundance of bacteria go into the wrong place in your intestine where they ferment the food, and after it ferments, the bacteria poop out gas, and that gas creates a lot of pain and bloating, and it can ruin people's lives. It ruined my life for a long time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get this mentality that you need to like kill the bacteria,
Right.
whether it be SIBO or like a yeast infection or anything. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to kill bacteria. And I lived in that mentality for such a long time, taking just so many antibiotics to try to like beat back the SIBO to like not be overgrown in the upper part of my intestines where I'm supposed to be absorbing my food. And instead it's nothing is absorbing, it's just fermenting. So what I did, my journey has been like, I did some elemental diets before I went vegan, which is basically you live on liquids that is a pre-digested chemical formula. The one benefit is that it does give your intestines a break from having fiber, so that I did get a lot of benefit from that, but my body deteriorated in other ways because I was getting poisoned by the chemicals that I was taking. So I did that a few times, like several 2-week long, just like they're basically smoothies.
Right.
And then I took so many herbal antibiotics like neem oil and, oregano oil and garlic extract and just all this other crap that is just killing.
Antifungals.
Yeah, antifungals, antibacterial. And just that whole mentality of killing just made me worse almost. It shifted the bloating in my stomach. It didn't heal it by any means. It just kind of moved it further down in my digestive tract, which someone would be like, well, it helped. It's like, well, my body deteriorated so rapidly in other ways.
It kills the good bacteria too.
Yeah, it kills the good bacteria and bad bacteria. So, so there's this mentality that like you need to follow the Candida diet or the SIBO diet, which, make you think you need to stop eating fruit because they say that fruit sugar ferments. And it's like, well, everything ferments, but fruit sugar is also feeding your body to detoxify.
Yeah.
So, what I did was I listened to the exact opposite of what everybody was telling me to do. And I started juicing, eating a shitload of fruit, and it worked super good,
Yeah.
and just knowing that it wasn't going to happen overnight, that it was going to take some time to like really beat back that overgrowth. Just consistency, I stayed consistent. I made juice. I ate very soft, easy to digest fruit. And over time, it just slowly went away. The candida on my tongue left. The bloating from my upper intestines started just moving down to my lower intestines. And eventually that went away. And, for me, it's just like, I can't stress how important it is to just be consistent.
Right.
When I say consistent, just eating a low fat, soft, easy to digest diet with lots of fruit sugar, whether it be from juice or from eating it or smoothies, it doesn't really matter, but just the consistency of high carb, low fat, easy to digest. That's it. That's the recipe for me. To me, that's the recipe to heal any intestinal, issue. Besides doing a water fast, which I think is the ultimate way to do it,
Right.
But most people, that's pretty intense, and not really doable for people who still need to function and work and who might have kids, So, SIBO is affecting, so many people, whether you think you have it or not. If you've got some sort of bloating, that means you probably have some sort of overgrowth, in some way, shape, or form in your intestines. And so in order to do that, you have to heal your body like you would any other disease. You just need to lean a little bit heavier on the very soft, easy to digest fruits.
Yeah.
For a while until your body is able to tolerate that fiber, and you can kind of rebuild your gut microflora.
I think there's some people on a raw food diet that can have bacteria overgrowth because they lean so much on the higher fats, and some people on a raw food diet are even afraid of fruit sugar, and they'll just have tons of tahini and salads all the time and nuts and seeds, and those are good in small amounts. Like I like around 15%, 20% maybe.
Yeah.
But that's
do you eat nuts and seeds?
I eat, like, if you count coconut. I've never really got into the nuts. I tried. I like sprouted seeds. Like sometimes I'll do like chia sprouts.
Okay.
So like they're very easy to sprout, and they're super easy to digest. They're supposedly one of the most nutrient dense foods in the world because they're very, like, if people have trouble digesting greens, the sprouts are a good alternative. But yeah, I like to get most of mine from like coconut, durian. I'm not a big fan of avocado because of the omega-6 to 3 ratio. And I've just never done well with avocados. Even like after my previous juice fast, I could actually digest fats a lot better. And that's when I upped my fat intake, and I started eating a lot of coconut meat. And it made me feel amazing. And like, I wasn't getting acne breakouts like I would with avocado. And, but my body loves durian and coconut. So that's what I give it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Those are way better than nuts and seeds, you know.
Absolutely.
I'm growing to the mentality that like, even though we can digest nuts and seeds, I don't think they're food for us, to be honest. Like it's
Yeah,
much better than other things, like for sure. It's like it's a survival food for us,
I
you
believe.
know,
Yeah,
almost like grains are, and almost like animal meats, you know, animal products are survival foods. It's like, yeah,
sure.
we can digest them. We will absorb some nutrition from them, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're like making our body stronger or healthier, you know?
Yeah, like if you're living in a tropical environment, where our species specific diet came from, fruits and greens. That's
Yeah.
like essentially that's what I believe. That's all we need.
Yeah, totally. And you know, I guess it would be considered extreme to think that we're not supposed to eat nuts and seeds, but it's like I'm talking about ultimate diet for a human. You
Right.
know, like obviously you can eat them. Most people will be totally fine. And after I'm healed, I will probably have some nuts and seeds,
Sure.
you know. And I will probably right now my fat intake is like probably 7 to 8%.
Yeah.
Once I heal those issues, I'll definitely increase my fat intake probably to above 10%.
Yeah.
Because I love durian so much, it'll probably just be more. But
Mhm.
most people like do way better if they simplify their diet, and after their body's completely healed, they don't need like too much fat. You know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
definitely.
I don't know how like what your thoughts are on avocado, but I honestly don't even know if avocado is like it's just such concentrated
I,
oil that it really
like
like affects you.
it's pretty close to nuts because avocado is like 80% fat. It's one of the highest, so I think
Yeah.
it's up there with like the survival foods. Like you look at like an avocado tree, like I think about this stuff a lot. Like it doesn't really look like you look at a mango tree, you can smell it, like it's
You're like,
vibrant, beautiful
yeah.
color, and like, but like an avocado tree, it's like, you know.
Yeah. My mouth doesn't ever water by looking at an avocado until it gets cut open.
Yeah, and like, can you
You know?
have like a mono? Like, I used to do this. I used to eat like 13 avocados for a meal when I first
Yeah.
went raw, and it's just
That's
not,
so many, dude.
the small
Yeah,
Mexican
of course.
avocado, but
Yeah.
it's just not ideal. Like, you're not going to get. I think that's like a secondary fuel source. Like John Rose talks about filling up your carbohydrate fuel tank, and then your fat is like your secondary fuel tank. It's what you use when you don't have enough carbohydrates, and your body goes to that. But ideally, we would just overfill on carbohydrates, and then we would have enough fats from that.
Yeah, totally. And you know, like, you know, avocado is a food for the human. It's just like it's like in that gray area. Like avocados will never heal you. Like you will get sick if you eat avocados. But if you're super healthy, like super healthy, you've got no issues of any
Yeah,
disease at all or any sort of symptoms. And I think you can have avocados totally fine. And as long as you're not having like more than one a day, you know, you're
of
totally fine.
course. Yeah, and
Um,
it's interesting. Like, I was looking at like the animals that eat avocados, and they're actually like these huge, like these huge mammals that are like essentially like herbivores, but they would eat the whole avocado with the skin and the seed, and it would fuel them for like these long journeys. So it's great for
Interesting.
like long, what's it called, like long-term fuel,
Yeah.
rather where carbohydrates are like more short-term fuel. So if you're going on like, a long adventure or something, they're very small, they're easy to pack, good option. And I even had, in Borneo, they have these wild jungle avocados.
Mm,
It's called enkala. It's like a little pink, they're like tiny little pink balls, and
wow.
inside it's like milky and like sweet and like avocado, but it had very tiny amount of flesh, like almost none. I'd say it's a lot less fatty than like the avocados we know,
Yeah.
and maybe that's closer to the original avocado or something, but the wild avocados, you'll see they have huge seeds, like very small amount of flesh, and they're not as fatty for sure.
Yeah. I think the Haas, the really dense, fatty ones like that, those had to have been like super cultivated to be like that.
Right.
I feel almost fine when I eat watery avocados, but I don't like the taste of them. They're not super good,
Yeah.
compared. So that's probably, what's going on is they've just been cultivated to be super dense and salty,
Yeah.
to the where they taste good, so they sell better,
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with the Reed avocados.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are like in between a watery avocado and like a really dense uh Hass.
Mhm.
But I find those are really easy to digest, like compared to the Hass.
Yeah.
But I just think like it's such a high fat item that it's like for sure, if we're like way back in the day living butt naked in the jungle, like trying to forage for food, to be like, oh my God, I'm gonna eat 20 avocados. And you'd probably be totally fine. You'd be tired maybe, but then if you don't have food for another 2 weeks, you're fine because you just stocked up.
Exactly.
And so I'm kind of more talking about in like healing the body. It's like, I don't think avocados should even be in your diet for years, unless you're like actually super healthy.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I think Doug Graham like nailed it on the head with like the 80-10-10 in terms of healing, and especially people who are cardio athletes, people who do running and cycling and all these activities. It's great to be low fat because you want to be lean, you want to be light. But people who want to do bodybuilding or put on some extra weight, like I was talking to Shane at Raw Vegan Rising, and he was he's a bigger dude, he's pretty muscular, and he does a 60-20-20 diet, and
wow,
that works for him, but I don't know if I'd do that.
yeah, he's probably in really good shape then, and I'm assuming he's super active, but
right.
I think long-term, research, especially the people that have been raw vegan for a very long time, kind of like the, Lauren Lockman, Life Regenerator, and definitely Doug Graham and Grant and all these people who are super active and aren't just preaching raw food, but live it, in the best shape that out of anybody, these people are all around like probably 10% fat, not
I don't know.
over.
Right?
Because
Life Regenerator, he's more in like the Lou Corona camp of like he eats a little bit more fat because he does a lot of the coconut yogurt, the gorilla milk, and
we think he does. I think that he lives on juice all day and then has a salad with one avocado. That's what I personally think.
That is, he did have a video recently where he was saying that that's what he's doing now. I know he kind of goes experiments with different stuff,
Yeah. I also know that I've watched some of his like Patreon videos that he kind of makes that aren't on YouTube, and
right.
Most of that food that he was making, he never eats any of it. That's to help people with transitioning into a raw vegan diet. So I'd be very skeptical to see him like chugging an entire 32-ounce jar of like coconut yogurt. Yeah. Just because he seems like so diligent and extreme with his diet, though. Like even though he's making it and promoting it, he's probably not eating it himself. It's just helpful.
Oh, we removed the 40-minute limit.
Are we still rolling?
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
Anyway, but yeah,
man. We can keep talking, but I think I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Check out Jeff. I'll leave his links below at Jeff Juices on Instagram. And anything else you want to say to the people?
Eat more fruit, fall in love with durian. It'll change your life. And thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.